fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Concept Art Sunstreaker from the Transformers Studio Series from Hasbro. He is number 111 in the Studio Series, and he is from Transformers Bumblebee. Kind of. That's why it says concept art. So they had done some designs, but he didn't actually feature in the final film. But I love these pictures they have here on the side where it's kind of the blueprints transitioning into the final design. I think that's a really cool idea. We saw the same thing with Megatron as well. Over here, just have a real close-up of Sunstreaker's head. And then over here on the back, we have some nice product shots of the robot mode and the vehicle mode. I think the vehicle mode looks really cool. I'm really excited for that. And then, of course, the little diorama that's included. Up top, just have that Transformers Bumblebee logo. Really sturdy packaging, though, I have to say. The new boxes for both Legacy United and the Studio Series, they've really shored up the packaging, which is nice because Amazon sent this to me in a plastic bag with nothing for padding whatsoever. You can see there's a little crease right there. Luckily, I don't really keep the boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and get Sunstreaker out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. Here is Sunstreaker in the background that is included. It's just kind of a generic scene on Cybertron, you know, just a kind of background still from that part of the movie where they're fighting on Cybertron in the beginning of the movie. Not super eventful. Looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks nice, but nothing really significant or exciting going on in the background. But he does fit nicely into the space, and it looks pretty good. Here is Sunstreaker out of the packaging. Honestly, he looks pretty great. I like him quite a bit. Has a really nice clean back, no kibble there, but that's because he really stores all of his kibble on the forearms and down here kind of on the sides of the legs going back into the back of the calf. The one on the legs is not too bad. When it comes in the packaging, it's kind of just out to the side like this, and if I had to keep it like that, obviously that would be ridiculous. But the nice thing is this can fold in. You can also kind of rotate it down a little bit, because if you try to push it in just straight, it doesn't, like, the wheel gets in the way, but if you rotate it down a little bit, you can compress it pretty nicely onto the side of the leg, and then it's really not too bad. Over here on the forearms, though, I'm going to go ahead and remove the guns here just so you can get the full scope of this. The arms are a little weird, I gotta be honest. So he's got these single elbows, and he's got all this kibble here on the side of the forearm, and then he's got all this kibble here on the back of the bicep, like in the tricep area. So that's kind of a bummer. It's not too bad if you're looking at him straight on, but it is a little awkward to just have this here on the back. The other thing is you have these big shoulder pads, which can kind of get in the way as they hit into the head. Now, they do move, so if you kind of like the look, and I actually kind of do, like just kind of clipping them up like that, I kind of like that look better as it is, and that will give you more range of motion there in the shoulder. So that is an option, and I kind of like that look for him. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's take a look at the head sculpt. I think they did a pretty excellent job of doing kind of an updated, cartoon G1 accurate, but obviously updated for the movie with the head sculpt here. I think that looks really sharp. He has those kind of telltale head fins, I guess I'll call them, done there in yellow. And unfortunately with these up, it's going to cast a lot of shadow, so I guess I'm going to put them down temporarily. But yeah, the head sculpt looks great. Nice blue eyes. Silver there for the face. The yellow on the sides there looks really good. You have some translucent blue plastic here on the chest, which has been painted yellow with a little Autobot symbol. I really like this orange trim. Kind of wish it extended onto the back. We're getting like, this is like what I expect to see out of like Ultraman figures, where the front's painted but not the back. It's not the biggest problem, but it does look sharp here on the front. You have some nice orange here on the thighs. Again, just kind of stops short, which is kind of a bummer. I don't really know why they couldn't spring to paint all of this. I don't know, maybe they're pretending it's a design choice. I don't know, but it seems like that should be painted there. You do have some nice, same kind of brownish orange, copper orange, I guess we'll call it, down here on the shins with some really nice silver there on the shins. That looks really sharp. Little bit of silver here on the front of his boots. His feet reminded me very much of Bumblebee from Rise of the Beasts. I feel like they went to the same shoe store and got the same boots. You also have some nice kind of gunmetal gray here on the forearms, which looks pretty good. And then you have some really nice blue and gunmetal gray and orange here for what will be the front headlights of the vehicle mode. The wheels are all done with different colored translucent blue plastic, which is inlaid in there, which looks really good. I mean, don't get me wrong. All in all, he looks good. I like the robot mode. I think it's very sharp. But it is kind of surprising where they skimped out on some of the paint apps, which is just weird to me. You think that they would paint these and finish this onto the back. But it's not the biggest problem. He does have those 2 blasters, so he can hold these. There's a peg for each hand. Or if you want, you can connect these together. If you want him to hold like one gigantic mega blaster. But the main reason they are meant to connect together is so that you can peg them in here to the back to kind of replicate like the backpack he had in the original cartoon. And I really like the look of that. I think that looks really sharp. It integrates in well. It's not too bulky. And it just looks like it's meant to go there. It's really sharp. I really like that quite a bit. I guess technically I don't think you can peg this in upside down because of these pieces here. Yeah, they kind of hit into... I mean, you can almost kind of, like if you want to use it as like a jetpack or something, they very loosely tab in, but they can't tab in all the way because these pieces get in the way. But they do fit perfectly like this, and I just think that looks really sharp, and I like that quite a bit. And then, like I said, if you wanted to kind of just pop these up, yeah, he's a good-looking bot. I think that's cool. All right, articulation-wise, the head's on a very limited ball joint. Now, you can kind of move this whole panel that the head is connected to, although that looks a little odd. But the head is kind of on a ball joint. Very minimal up and down. Side to side, no problem. Maybe the tiniest little bit tilt side to side. You have that hinge I talked about there in the shoulders. Of course, you have a rotation as well. You can move the shoulder pads around a little bit. You have a rotation right above the elbow for kind of a bicep swivel. 90 degrees there in the elbow. Wrists are fixed, mostly because you have this giant pin there for that kibble. So not going to be able to rotate the wrists around. He does surprisingly have a waist swivel, which I was not expecting. Really nice range of motion here in the hips. Kick really far forward. You have to kind of play with this a little bit, but you can kick pretty far back. The hips on mine are really tight, which I guess is a good thing. But you can kick really far to the side, which I was not expecting. I really thought this was going to hit in there, but you can see that they've kind of beveled it out so that it can fit in there no problem. Really nice. Really appreciate that. What you might have also noticed is that this tends to unpeg when you just kind of try to move stuff around. It pegs right back in. Not a huge problem, but is a little annoying. You have this really nice thigh swivel here. 90 degrees there in the knee. You do have some front to back movement in the ankle, mostly for transformation. And then you do have ankle tilt in both directions. So pretty cool. I really like him. I think he looks good. Just the only thing that really baffles me is the missing paint, which not the biggest problem. And I would say probably the kibble here on the forearms. The kibble on the legs, pretty seamless. Folds against the leg, not really that big a deal. But this is kind of distracting to me, having these giant pieces on the sides of the arms. Not the worst thing, not the best thing. I feel like they tried to, like, because this is kind of smaller, they tried to make it act like this is the side of his forearm. And honestly, if you just had this bit, and if it was just one fold, I think I'd be okay with it. But having the second bit really bulks it out, especially with that hinge right there. So, not the best, not the worst. Also, the wheel hanging off the back of the tricep there. But overall, just looking at him straight on in robot mode, looks good. Paint applications you do get look good. Articulation, I think, is good. I love storing this on the back. Overall, pretty sharp robot mode. Let's go ahead and get into the transformation. Transformation is actually pretty simple. Not really that much to do. Just kind of manipulating the legs and the arms, but you'll see what I mean. So we're going to start off by taking the legs, if you have them ankle tilted at all, straighten them out, and then push them straight up into the shin, like so. Then you're going to take the thighs and kind of make sure the legs are straightened so that you can rotate these in as much as possible. And if you have them bent at the knee at all, you're going to want to straighten that as well. You're going to take this, kind of lift this up, swivel this forward, and it's going to kind of connect to the feet now that they are folded up and in place. So you're going to want to kind of bring this down, and this will kind of snap in, although it's not cooperating. There we go. Okay. So you can see how that kind of connects to the side of the foot so that the back heel is now integrated into that. So bring this down, and you'll hear it snap. It's a really nice snap. Once you have that, you can go ahead and push all of this together, and his work boots will integrate. That's why they have those teeth, which is really nice, as well as these pieces will peg together. So there is the front of the car. I went ahead and removed the guns. If you haven't done that yet, you're going to want to remove the guns from there. You can go ahead and lift this section up if it hasn't popped up already. And then this is going to just completely pop out of here. So you can see that there's 1, 2, 3 hinges. So it really accordions into the chest. I'll be honest, it goes in well enough, but I feel like ever since the first time I've done it, I've never really been able to compress it back in as cleanly as how it was in the box. So I don't know if I'm missing something or if it's just a weird angle thing, but I feel like it's never really pegged in and snapped in as well as it was that first time. So maybe I'm doing something wrong, but you can see you have these little pieces of the side windows here. You have to bring these up, and then you have to kind of make sure that like this piece here goes past. And I know that's not the best explanation, but if you just kind of pop these out, they won't go all the way. So you have to kind of make sure that it all fits seamlessly. You might have to kind of wiggle this to get a little past a tab here. And then once you have that, that should be pretty clean and ready to go. Now you're going to kind of just pitch it forward ever so slightly like he's doing an ab crunch. And then this will come down. I might have to give it a little bit more. And this will come down and snap into place down here. And it's kind of weird to just have him like slightly reclined forward, but that is what you do. At that point, you're going to take the head, that panel that I showed it was on earlier, and just push that down into the empty cavity. The piece on the back is going to flip around, and that also has 2 hinges. And you're going to want to just bring this all the way around. Now you kind of have to get past these tabs. So you have kind of a tab here and a tab here. And you want to make sure that this kind of gets past that and clips into place. And you heard that really snap in nice and clean. So you can see how the tabs, you know, like that piece went and situated itself right underneath that. If you can see what I mean there. So that's nice and snapped in now. The rest of this, you're literally just going to take the arm and just fold it back until that clicks into place there. Then you're going to open up this panel and flip this panel down. Make sure that's fully extended like that. So basically this is going to flip up and just kind of hide the fists. And then you'll just rock this back and it just kind of connects onto there. Which I feel like they could have done something a little better with that. It's not, again, not a deal breaker, but it is just like, that's transformed. That's not transformed. Like, I don't know. That's just... yeah. Then you're going to bring this in. This little tab here is going to fit underneath the side window. So just kind of clip that under there. And then there is a little tab right there, which will go into this little section here on the side of the, I guess, door, car door. So bring this in, kind of slide that underneath, and then pop that there. You can see we're pretty much done at this point. We're just going to take the shoulder pads, and if you had them the way I have them, you're going to have to rock them a little bit further. But if you had them the way that I guess they're technically supposed to be, they should kind of just pop up here. And then there's a tab on this one and a tab spot on that one. So make sure you put this one down first. And then that will just close up over top of that. And there we go. We have concept art Sunstreaker in vehicle mode. I think this is really cool alt mode. I love this. I love how the wheels are kind of just like integrated into the vehicle, because it doesn't have like modern Earth vehicle wheels. They definitely gave it a perfect Cybertronian look here. Still rolls though, because the wheels are very slightly still below the plastic, so they can spin. And you have that really nice translucent blue plastic that I think looks really sharp. I like that quite a bit. It's just a really cool design. I even feel like the shoulder pads here, you know, close up around the back end pretty well. And that's pretty seamless and pretty clean. It's just a really cool alt mode. And again, you have all this paint here on the front, which looks really sharp. All of this kind of copper, orange, burnt orange, the blue, the gunmetal gray, really, really looks sharp. The only thing that's a little out of place, the translucent windshield piece obviously had to be painted yellow, and so it doesn't really match the rest of the plastic. It's really not terrible. They did a decent job. You can definitely tell, and I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, you can tell it's a little lighter, but they honestly did a pretty good job, and all the rest of it is just the yellow plastic, so that's the only little bit that kind of sticks out, and it's minimal. So I really like this a lot. Now you can go ahead and take the guns. They have those tabs that I pointed out earlier. They can tab in here and here, and so you can just drop this right on top, and I think that looks really sharp. I like that quite a bit, but if you want, you can also split these apart, which is a little easier said than done, and you can use those normal pegs that he, held in his hand. Actually, I guess I would have to do it like this, and you can attach them to the side. So you have to kind of make sure that these larger tabs are out of the way, but you could peg these on the side if you like that look better. But I definitely like the look of just connecting them and combining them on the top, because again, it kind of reminds me of the original G1 Sunstreaker, how he had that section on the top of his vehicle mode, which then translated to his backpack. So you're pretty much recreating that with these guns, and I think that's a really nice touch, and it works really well. So I love this alt mode. Really unusual, but really sharp and sleek. Very futuristic, very alien. I think they did a fantastic job there. I think Sunstreaker's a lot of fun. I definitely don't think he's perfect, but I think he's fun, and the little flaws that he has are easy enough to overlook. Mostly, I don't like the kibble on the forearms or on the back of the triceps or on the side of the legs, but the side of the legs I think is definitely the least egregious. They kind of can compress nice enough that they don't really get in the way. The panels on the side of the forearms, though, are kind of rough. And the shoulder pads are a little wonky. You can play with them a little bit and kind of put them in different poses, which it's nice that they can move at least, because if they were stuck in this configuration, it would be kind of terrible and really hinder his, arm articulation. But the fact that you can move them around a little bit does help. I love the look of the guns on the back. I think that looks super sharp. I love that they can store there. I think the head sculpt's great. I think they did a good job taking the original kind of G1 aesthetic of Sunstreaker and putting it in this kind of Cybertronian mode. I think they did a nice job with that. He is definitely recognizable as Sunstreaker, but definitely is kind of alien enough that you can tell he doesn't just transform into an Earth vehicle. So I really appreciate that. I think they did a fun job. Missing the few paint applications I think is a little weird. I was kind of surprised about that. So, like I said, then you have the chest for me doesn't snap in as well as I'd like it to, but it's not a huge issue. So, again, he's not 100% perfect, but he is a lot of fun, and I definitely still recommend checking him out. If you can get past those few little things, and they are nitpicky, I will admit, definitely not deal breakers in any means. I think this is definitely a really fun mold, and definitely worth still checking out. Just kind of, hamper your expectations slightly, and you should be good to go. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.